The movie starts with a glamorous view of the fashion world, where people, especially women, are obsessed with their appearance and charm. Teenagers and adults admire the stunning beauty of top models, dreaming of looking even a little like them. Captivated by the shiny TV ads and magazine covers, they have no idea about the dark side of the modeling industry. Amid this world of beauty and appearances, we meet LiLiCo, a young model celebrated across Japan as the symbol of beauty. She captivates everyone with her supposed natural charm and perfect features. But in reality, LiLiCo has had many surgeries to create her flawless look. Even with her glamorous life, she struggles with self-acceptance, worried about her fading beauty and the fear of being replaced by a newer, younger model. We then meet Detective Makoto Asada, who is looking at LiLiCo's pictures and thinking about how fame can corrupt. He talks with his partner about how fame can slowly destroy a person. His partner mentions that high school girls look up to LiLiCo and want to look like her. However, Makoto understands the hidden side of the modeling world and believes that true happiness does not come from beauty. He thinks that while models like LiLiCo seem perfect on the outside, their inner lives are often unhappy and filled with problems. Later, as his partner reviews pictures of women who have suffered from bad surgeries, he asks Makoto if there are any updates on their case. Makoto reveals that the clinic they are investigating is involved in many illegal activities, including tax evasion, child organ trafficking, and drug dealing. The story moves to a press event where LiLiCo, beaming next to her new movie co-star, happily talks about their growing friendship. But her mood changes quickly the next morning when she sees her co-star sharing the spotlight on a magazine cover with her. Away from the cameras, LiLiCo becomes cold and mean. She treats her assistant, Michiko Hata, terribly, scolding her over small things. In a fit of anger, she even spits water in Michiko's face because it was too cold. Michiko and the makeup artist, Kinji Sawanabe, put up with LiLiCo's cruel behavior because they need their jobs. Amidst the tension, LiLiCo's boyfriend, Nanbu, arrives with a big bouquet of flowers. The staff quietly leave, allowing the couple some private time in the dressing room, where they get intimate. Later that evening, LiLiCo, hungry for more fame, seduces a producer to secure future magazine covers. After he leaves, she calls her manager, known as Mama, who not only manages but also funds her career. Nervously, LiLiCo tells Mama that she followed her advice and slept with the producer. Mama calmly reassures her that it's all for her protection. At home, LiLiCo admires herself in the mirror, feeling confident in her unmatched beauty. But her confidence crumbles when she notices a disturbing bruise on her forehead, and she screams in fear. The next day, Kinji expresses his worry about LiLiCo's unexplained bruises to Mama. Mama reveals that these bruises are side effects of LiLiCo's many cosmetic surgeries, explaining that almost every part of her beauty is fake. To keep Kinji quiet, Mama bribes him with an expensive ruby ring, asking him to continue supporting LiLiCo now that he knows the truth. Later, LiLiCo and Mama visit a beauty clinic to fix her scars. The doctor promises to do corrective surgery, but a sudden uproar occurs. A frustrated woman, covered in bruises, yells at the clinic, accusing them of ruining her face and demanding repairs. The doctor shifts the blame, saying the woman didn't take proper care of herself. Amid the chaos, Mama convinces the doctor to prescribe stronger treatments for LiLiCo, who hesitantly agrees to undergo another procedure. Meanwhile, Makoto and his team are investigating a photo linked to the mysterious death of a model named Megumi. They suspect that Megumi died because of the beauty clinic's carelessness after surgery. Makoto reveals that Megumi's ex-husband, who was also a doctor, worked with the clinic's director to illegally harvest organs, skin, and muscle to enhance beauty. He warns that these surgeries require lifelong medication to prevent serious side effects, which, if ignored, can be deadly. Makoto grimly notes that models often go to extreme lengths for fame and beauty, sometimes with tragic outcomes. In another part of the city, LiLiCo's fame keeps growing. She appears on magazine covers, TV shows, and in interviews, becoming a household name. Everything she promotes becomes successful, making her even more famous. But as her fame increases, so does her ego, making her more arrogant. After a long day of photo shoots, Michiko drives a drunk LiLiCo home. As LiLiCo stumbles into her house, leaving a mess behind, Michiko is left to clean up. Sitting in front of her mirror, LiLiCo thinks about how much people admire her, and Michiko mentions her large fan base. But LiLiCo complains that her fans only love the image they see, not her true self. As she looks in the mirror, more bruises appear on her skin, causing her to panic about losing her beauty and fame. In a mix of anger and fear, she rants about how short-lived her career might be and worries about being forgotten. Michiko tries to comfort her, but LiLiCo pushes her away, questioning her own attractiveness. In a moment of drunken sadness and vanity, LiLiCo makes an inappropriate move towards Michiko, who reluctantly goes along with it. The next morning, Mama gets a surprise visitor, a schoolgirl claiming to be LiLiCo's sister, Chikako, which shocks Mama. Later, LiLiCo finds a letter from Chikako, who was in Tokyo for a school trip and wanted to reconnect. The letter, filled with memories of their time apart, touches LiLiCo's heart, reminding her of simpler days. With Michiko's help, the sisters reunite, sharing a happy and emotional moment. Chikako praises LiLiCo's success, but admits she isn't brave enough to follow in her sister's footsteps. LiLiCo, moved by the reunion, encourages Chikako to believe in herself and says that beauty can give you confidence and strength. At the clinic, LiLiCo nervously goes through another facelift as part of her regular beauty routine. Later, she attends a promotional event where her fans cheer for her. During an interview, when asked about her secret to staying beautiful, she credits yoga and Pilates. Watching the interview later, Makoto comments on how LiLiCo tries so hard to please her audience but loses a part of herself in the process. This makes him decide to visit her in person. After the event, LiLiCo confronts Mama about the money being sent to her family. When Mama insists that she has been sending money, LiLiCo is doubtful and demands the truth. Mama finally admits that only a small amount has been sent because it costs a lot to maintain LiLiCo's public image. Mama sternly reminds LiLiCo of her poor beginnings and the money she has invested in her, expecting LiLiCo to repay her. Soon after, LiLiCo meets Koji Yoshikawa, a new rising star in the modeling world. As everyone in the studio praises Koju, LiLiCo notices the admiration shifting from her to the newcomer. Even though they work together on TV ads and photo shoots, LiLiCo's jealousy grows as Koju becomes more popular, threatening to outshine her. LiLiCo struggles to accept that her fame is fading and that Koju might replace her, hurting her self-confidence. In the months that follow, LiLiCo's fame fades even more, and she starts using sedatives and other drugs to cope with her declining status. Things get worse when she finds out that her boyfriend, Nanbu, is engaged to a politician's daughter, saying he needs to marry someone of his social level. Although he says he still loves LiLiCo, his engagement deeply hurts her fragile self-esteem. One night, LiLiCo suddenly shows up at Michiko's apartment and meets Michiko's boyfriend, Shino Kimura. Taking advantage of the moment, she flirts with him and boldly asks if she can kiss him. Drawn to LiLiCo, Shin agrees. Michiko watches helplessly as her boyfriend and LiLiCo get closer. Later, following LiLiCo's dark command, Michiko and Shin attack Nambu's fiancé by throwing acid on her face and quickly running away. Back at LiLiCo's apartment, she makes them promise to keep this secret between them. In a disturbing twist, LiLiCo forces Michiko and Shin to be intimate in front of her, showing her control over them. The next day, while Kinchan styles LiLiCo's hair, he notices scars on her back, but says nothing. Instead, he quietly tells Mama about it. Mama, unsurprised, hints that LiLiCo's time in the spotlight may be ending. That evening, LiLiCo meets Nambu at a hotel and asks him about his future wife. Nambu avoids the question, insisting that he only loves her. Meanwhile, Makoto decides it's time to question LiLiCo about the investigation into the beauty clinic she visits. He approaches her at work, calling her Tiger Lily, and asks her to testify against the clinic, but she denies any involvement and tells him not to use that nickname. Makoto, not giving up, tells LiLiCo that he knows all about her actions, including her involvement in the acid attack. He says a witness saw her van's license plate. He shows her a file full of evidence against the clinic and her wrongdoings, leaving her to think about her choices. Back at home, LiLiCo looks through the evidence, seeing how much the victims have suffered. She finds old photos of herself before all the surgeries, showing how different she looked, which triggers a severe panic attack. She quickly takes a sedative to calm down. Later, LiLiCo is furious when she sees Koju in another commercial. Driven by jealousy, she orders Michiko to ruin Koju's face with a knife. During a TV show recording, LiLiCo goes to the bathroom to take another sedative. During the live broadcast, she starts to hallucinate, seeing things that aren't real, and struggles against the set decorations, knocking over her cake in the process. Meanwhile, Michiko follows Koju to an amusement park, confronting her with a knife, expecting her to be scared and run away. But Koju stays calm, saying that all models eventually get forgotten and replaced. Michiko, surprised by Koju's peaceful attitude, changes her mind and decides not to go through with the attack. When LiLiCo finds out that Michiko didn't follow her orders, she becomes enraged and attacks Michiko. Overwhelmed, LiLiCo runs out into the pouring rain and sits on the curb, trying to pull herself together. She drops her pills into a puddle but still picks them up and takes them. Sitting there soaked, she thinks back to her early days as a model, and her visions become more intense. Back at the apartment, Michiko finds the file of evidence against LiLiCo and the beauty clinic. She mails it, and soon, the media is flooded with news about LiLiCo's numerous cosmetic surgeries as her health starts to decline. At the same time, Makoto is removed from the investigation after being accused of leaking important information. A few days later, LiLiCo faces a crowd of reporters. With cameras flashing non-stop, she stands up and quiets the room. In a shocking and tragic moment, LiLiCo stabs herself in the eye with a knife, ending her life in front of everyone. The stunned reporters are frozen for a moment before they start taking pictures again as she falls. Afterward, her friends and co-workers are questioned, and rumors spread among fans, suggesting that LiLiCo's death might have been faked and that she could still be alive. Months later, Makoto and his team meet a beautiful young woman who gives him her address. To their surprise, it's Chikako, who has undergone cosmetic surgery to look like her sister. Makoto shares the sad statistics about the clinic, including 9 suicides and 1 missing person, LiLiCo. As they continue walking, they see an advertisement for a book called The Legend of LiLiCo, hinting that her story will live on. The scene then shifts to Koju, who has taken LiLiCo's place as Japan's new beauty star. After a photo shoot, Kinji, now Koju's makeup artist, invites her to a nightclub. Curious, Koju follows Michiko, who is dressed strangely, down to a basement. There, she finds a fancy dressing room and sees someone sitting at a mirror. The movie ends with LiLiCo, alive and wearing an eye patch, sitting on a throne, suggesting that she survived and is still in control of her legacy. So the moral of the story is if you spend your life chasing fame and beauty, you might end up losing your mind, your morals, and eventually your eyeball.